Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. This is the fourth and final part of my Peru travel vlogs, so I really hope you've enjoyed them so far. So I'm saying a sad goodbye to beautiful Puno, as this was our last day here. So the next day in the morning, we were all packed up and ready to head to the Puno airport. It was a really lovely drive where I got to enjoy much of the Puno city. The views were excellent and beautiful, and the sunrise was gorgeous. By this point in the trip, I was pretty used to the elevation, but I was definitely starting to feel the effects of tiredness just from travel in general. So we headed to the Puno airport, got on the plane, and our plane is headed to Lima, which is the very last leg of our trip. I was super excited to visit Lima for the very first time ever. Lima is much more developed. It's more like a city that you would find in Mexico or the US. Once we landed, we checked into our hotel, and my mom and I actually went and had a delicious ceviche lunch, and I dare say it was the best ceviche I have ever had in my life. After lunch, we headed back and met up with our guide, who was to show us around the city of Lima. I forget his name at this moment and I feel so bad, so if I remember or if I find it, I will insert it on the screen so you can see.
It's from Spain. 1821, 1872. Now it's a museum.
We all hopped in the van and we were driving to some of the major destinations that were worth seeing in the city. Along the way, we were making small talk about daily life and traffic and statues and monuments that we passed by.
The first 100 years of independence. Italian community is the third biggest foreign community in Peru.
Overall, we were pretty favorable with the weather because it was not super cold out. It was a tad bit windy, but overall warm enough that I could wear shorts and a crop top.
The Supreme Court is inside.
As we arrived closer to the Lima town center, signs of protesting was already starting to become visible. There were some people that were speaking in boom mics, large groups gathered together, people holding up signs in protest.
Pedro Castillo.
This was at the very beginning of when the protesting was starting to happen.
En el fondo, lo que se quiere decir es que lo mismo que se hablaba acá en la Plaza San Martín, de que esto de la discusión entre Congreso, Poder Ejecutivo, está ocurriendo a muchos peruanos. El tema de las noticias también. Bueno, es un sentir también de los licenciados de las Fuerzas Armadas ahorita.
Nothing was crazy or uncivil or violent. Overall, it was a great moment to gain some awareness about what's happening politically in the country of Peru. Continuing on with our guide, he continued to take us through the city, showing us beautiful architecture. This building here is the Basilica and Convent of Nuestra, Senora de la Merced, or Our Lady of Mercy. This church is as old as the city of Lima. The church was built and meant to teach Mercedian religious beliefs to the conquered indigenous people. The statues and carvings on the building was carved in 1591 by Cristobal Gomez. The church has been altered, refurbished, and had parts rebuilt since its beginning from 1534 to about 1940. It was so fun to see how the old and the new mix very well here in Lima, with the old architectural buildings mixed amongst the new buildings as well. There were beautiful colors like yellow and pink, blue and seafoam green. Beautiful pastels and ornate details lining windows and doorways. We also got the pleasure of visiting the Monastery of San Fransisco in Lima, home of the famous catacombs. Not only was this Baroque-styled monastery beautiful and well cared for on the surface, it was highly fascinating under the ground. Underneath the monastery, in long stone tunnels, lie over 25,000 skeletons from people throughout the ages. People used to pay to have their loved ones buried here, believing it was a straight shot to heaven from the monastery. I've included some images here from PeruTravel.com, since we were not allowed to take pictures in the catacombs themselves. Many of the skeletons were placed in this formation later, mainly for exhibition purposes. One of the things that I found very notable was the smell of food. The smell of food along the streets of Lima is absolutely amazing. with different meats, and my favorite especially, Peruvian churros. So if you're ever visiting Lima, definitely go and find Peruvian churros. Later that evening, our group separated because some people were visiting family which lived in Lima. So me and my mom decided to go to the famous cat park. And I would say it's a couple blocks long. It's a very large, wide open park filled with dozens and dozens and dozens of stray cats, each one of them beautiful and unique in its own way. The thing that I found very heartwarming was there are groups of people that come and feed the cats daily. They make sure that they are clean and brushed and watered, as well as they provide healthcare for the cats. They have them spayed and neutered, so there's not a rampant stray cat problem. They also have programs where you can adopt these stray cats as well. The cats that live here are very, very loved by the community. Many people come here just to socialize with them and enjoy their company. I've inserted images of some of my favorite cats that I saw, though this is just scratching the surface. I would say I saw at least 50 cats, maybe more. Many of them were cuddled together or sitting on benches next to people. For me, this was truly a highlight to end the trip on. After visiting the cat park, my mom and I were really hungry, so we went to a restaurant that was highly rated and got several different dishes to try, each one very delicious. I didn't eat everything because I don't eat meat, but everything was delicious and fresh, and my favorite was surprisingly this interesting take on a Spanish rice. The next morning we had all of our stuff packed up and we headed to the Lima airport to say goodbye to Peru. Overall, it was a wonderful, incredible, and informative experience, and I'm so thankful that I got to be here, especially with people I loved. I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog series. If you haven't seen all of them, definitely go check out the other episodes, and definitely consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date on all my new content. Thank you so much. I'll see you in my next one.